BBC Radio Wales Breakfast.
Welsh victims of the contaminated blood scandal in the 1970s and 80s are dying while waiting for the compensation they deserve, according to a charity that represents them. Haemophilia Wales also say people affected by the scandal are being caught between the UK and Welsh governments and are being used as political footballs. Thousands of people across the UK were given unsafe blood products by the NHS, with many losing their lives after contracting conditions like HIV and hepatitis C. Kirk Ellis from Caerphilly was born with haemophilia and was given infected blood as a child. He was diagnosed as having hepatitis C when he was 18 months old and has now developed liver cirrhosis.
I haven't had the opportunities I would have had if I hadn't been infected. I can't get a mortgage because I can't get life insurance. And the payments are too low to get a mortgage. So I just feel I can't give my partner and my son any security. That's what really hurts. I feel I'm letting them down. Because I've got cirrhosis, I've been informed by the doctors, the consultants, that I'm more prone to liver cancer. So it's always on my mind that at any time, every time I go for an appointment, my liver checkup, that I could get diagnosed with cancer of the liver and I could be gone. I worry that I might not be here in 6 months or a year's time, and I'm trying to save money so that I know that there's some sort of safety net there for them, but on the payments we're getting, it's just not high enough. And Scotland have included widows at 75%, but no time cap on it, so it's ongoing. I just can't see how hard it can be to get the 4 departments together, find out the fairest bits of each scheme and raise it all. I can't see why it's such a problem.
Well, that's Kirk Ellis from Caerphilly. Lynne Kelly is the chair of Haemophilia Wales and joins us now. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming on the programme this morning. We've heard from Kirk there, clearly very concerned about his situation now and his future situation as well. You say victims like Kirk are being used in Wales as political footballs. Tell us what you mean.
Well, in October 2018, Sir Brian Langstaff, the chair of the Infected Blood Inquiry, he voiced his concerns over the disparity of payments across the UK, and he asked the UK health departments to consult with each other to sort this problem out. And here we are, 14 months later, still waiting for this to happen. We know there's been one meeting with the devolved administrations, and this isn't a complex problem. To resolve this issue, all that needs to happen is that widows and widowers need to be included in the scheme in Wales and in England. The payments need to be levelled up, and psychological support and welfare and benefits advice need to be part of that scheme. So it isn't a complex issue, and we feel that we're being passed between Westminster and Welsh Government to get answers. And in the meantime, people are dying. One of the men has died this week. His main concern, obviously with a terminal diagnosis, is what will happen to my family when I die, who will look after them. And the main problem is that the widows and the widowers aren't included in any of the UK schemes. What we're asking is for an interim measure to be passed. This isn't a final resolution to the problem, because obviously we want compensation to be paid at the end of the inquiry, and this has never happened previously.
Well, the Welsh Government say discussions have been ongoing to seek the additional funding necessary to match the England payments announced earlier this year. They say, though, unfortunately, because of the UK elections, the work on financial parity has been halted, but it will be picked up again now. A new government is in place at Westminster and has been formed. So you're hopeful that this could be resolved soon?
Well, we're not really hopeful because we feel that it's been stalled for over a year. And when you think that people were infected with HIV and hepatitis C in the late 70s and 80s, people have been waiting for 35 years for payments to be made and for compensation to be paid. So no, we're not that hopeful that it's going to be resolved quickly.
But there is money available, isn't there, at the moment? The victims are getting some help.
Right, so the current schemes don't include all the victims. So the schemes only include the infected victims. But the wider affected people, such as widows, widowers, parents who lost their children, children who lost their parents, they're not included in any of the schemes. And so the true impact of the scandal hasn't been addressed.
And when you talk to people and you talk to victims, what's it like for them dealing with this, trying to find the energy to fight for this on top of everything else?
Well, it's been a fight to get to the public inquiry, to get to the truth about what happened. And people just feel that they're constantly battling. They're obviously living in severe hardship. The payments are very low anyway. And people feel it's very unjust that after all these years, after 35 years, basically, we're asking for payments for 35 widows and widowers in Wales. So the money it's not very much money we're asking for, but we need Welsh Government to address this urgently.
The public inquiry is taking place. What's the next stage with that?
So in February, we'll hear from the expert witnesses. There's a week of hearings in London. We've already heard from witnesses in Wales and all across the UK. And then at the beginning of June, the controversial evidence starts. So this would be from civil servants, government officials at the time.
Thank you very much for joining us this morning. We appreciate you coming into the studio. That's Lynne Kelly, the chair of Haemophilia Wales.